All right, good morning. It is Wednesday, September the 23rd. Yesterday, we flipped through a couple of tool PowerPoints, learning to identify tools. Today, what we're going to do is go ahead and go through the rest of our hand tools, and then we are also going to review all of the ID. So for your performance-based measures for this particular one, you're going to be graded on not only a written test, but also an identification test as well. So it's really important that we make sure that we flip through these every day so you can identify the tools, because some of these look very similar, but yet they have a different name. So we just kind of did that yesterday. Couple of key points is you want to make sure that your hand tools are sharp. The sharper your tools are, if they're designed to cut, you don't have to use as much force, and therefore it's going to reduce injury. You want to make sure that for saw blades, if it's a larger blade, it's going to take out more wood. Because of that, it's going to make a rough cut. Smaller teeth will make a smoother cut. 25% of all shop injuries are caused by the use of hand tools. Most of the time, that's from doing something dumb, using the wrong tool for the wrong job, like using a screwdriver for a hammer. So we want to make sure we don't do that. And so yesterday, we just kind of clicked through. Today, we're going to look at the squares. We did not do that yesterday. So the biggest difference is a tri-square only does 90 degrees, and you can tell, and it also does not have, it also does not have anything on this one particular side over here. There's only a measuring wheel on one side. So as you can see, this is the only side that measures. And because of that, this is a tri-square. The combination square, you can see it's a little bit different. You have a 90-degree angle. You also have a 45-degree angle. So if it does multiple things, then that's what makes it a tri-square. Most everything was pretty self-explanatory. There's some pictures on here that tell you how exactly these things are used. Most of them are pretty simple and pretty straightforward. We talked about different hammers. You got to know the difference between a rip hammer and a nail hammer. The claw on a rip hammer is straight, allows you to pry wood apart, whereas on the nail hammer, the claw is slightly bent, so it allows you to pull nails easier. A wrecking bar, we do have to know the four parts of a wrecking bar. So those are just reiterized in here. Slip joint pliers, side cutting pliers. These are long nose pliers, not needle nose pliers. Needle nose pliers are not tapered. They're the same diameter all the way through. So there is a difference between long nose pliers and needle nose pliers. We also have bent nose pliers because they're not straight. Vice grips. And then today, after slide 43 there, this is where we're going to pick up today. And we're going to look at a couple of different pairs of wire strippers, the difference between a coping saw and a compass saw. You can see the difference. A coping saw, really thin blade. We're going to use that to cut curves, whereas a coping saw, it's kind of a handheld sawzall if you've ever used a sawzall. So it allows you to get in tight spaces. It has a really coarse tooth on it. Cross-cut and rip saw, you can see the difference on them. Cross-cut cuts across the grain, whereas a rip saw cuts with the grain. It all has to do with the angle of the teeth to give you a smoother cut and then make it easier to cut across the grain. A miter saw cuts angles. We know a hacksaw cuts metal. And then we have a cold chisel and a wood chisel. You can see the difference here. A cold chisel has a really big point on it. We use that to cut metal. And then a wood chisel is flat, and we use that to shape and dress wood. And then there is a difference between a countersink and a screw mate. If you look at the left-hand side, okay, you can see, right, a countersink does not have a drill bit. Okay, all that's going to do is make a small hole in the top so that way your screw sits flush. Where over here on a screw mate, it does two things at once. It's going to drill you a pilot hole, and then it's also going to countersink it. So there is a difference between the two. All right. So today you need to go ahead and finish up these notes. And then here in just a little bit, I'm going to post a video on SAE and what exactly we need to have finished today. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, and we'll see you all tomorrow.